Run it already. Okay. All right, good evening, everybody. This is a meeting of the sewer department, the discussion of articles for the town meeting. Calling the meeting to order at 4:03. And roll call.
Sandy Slavin.
Jim Gibberti.
Donna Brock.
Malcolm White.
Okay, and we're off. Now we've got discussion of articles for the town meeting. I believe, Guy, unless you got something else, we're talking about the equalization lagoons.
Yes, we're talking about the report, the equalization,
Right.
the lagoons and the filters, yes.
Okay, and that's it.
So this was looking for a $10 million project, of which they need $1 million from us, and the balance of the $9 million will be eligible for SRF funding. Correct?
That is correct.
And that $10 million was for the new raw wastewater lagoon lined and covered, new denitrification filters,
Yes,
and the new wet weather equalization lagoon.
yes.
Now, I thought at our last meeting that we narrowed it down to the wet weather equalization lagoon.
We did,
As a period.
We didn't narrow it down, you narrowed it down, but we did narrow it down. We still believe, the engineer and I still believe that the whole project needs to be done. If you feel that just the wet weather will do that, but it won't address the odors, and that's okay, whatever you feel you want to do. That's what I said before, and I'll say it again, it's your call. Because the equalizing basin up front is covered to address the surge we get from the sludge. So that's one item. Second item was the sand filters cannot handle the flow at a surge, so that's the second item. The third item is when we have that overflow after they get backed up, we go to the equalization basin, which is 2.2 million of the secondary. So there's three separate issues, all caused by high flow. So they're all addressing different things. So what we said is if you felt that you wanted to just one or what, that's totally your call, the board's call. But we believe that it all should be done to address all the issues.
Because it was never broken down as to the cost of each one of the three projects. It was presented as if it really needed to be done as a total package, complete package. Because I don't remember talking about individual components
None
of
of the
that.
costs. Jim had mentioned that he'd like to break it out. He said, well, what if we did this with that? That was part of the conversation.
Exactly.
But the project is not presented that way.
Yeah. Well, we voted to submit the submission for the $10 million project, 300.
Right.
With a town meeting article for a $9 million loan and $1 million output.
It's $10 million that we're responsible for
Yes.
overall.
One will take on it, but yeah, we're responsible. But the nine we borrowed, we're hoping to get a 0% interest, and we're hoping to pay that back out of the $1 million we're using now for capital, as we were going to do when we did the lining. So the goal is not to raise the rates to the town, to the residents, or to the ratepayers to take it out of that money. So that would be the goal again, as we approached it last time, the same thing. So that would be the goal also.
Okay.
Okay, so we're not gonna just go after the ratepayers for this $10 million.
No, we're gonna go after our budget first. And then if there's any budget shortcomings, then we gotta address it,
I got
like
it.
everything else.
Yeah, I
But
get it.
we've got $1 million annual that we use for capital projects.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we'd like to use that, but the bottom line is to be, comforting to the ratepayers and make it palatable. We may go into that because we'd have to look at the interest rate, it would be the 2% or 0% over 20 years, so it may be wiser to grab it out of there.
Do we have a estimated annual figure from John on what that would be paid?
I don't. Last time we did it was approximately $545,000 based upon the last $5 million we were going to borrow or $10 million we were going to borrow.
What was that interest
That was
rate?
remember that was for the pipeline.
The line.
What was the interest rate on that?
I don't know. I don't know, because a zero interest rate changes those numbers dramatically.
Well, it doesn't change the 500. The 500 would stay the same.
But then,
At 10 million to begin with, because that's the principal.
then that's the
That would
number.
be the principal payback for a 20-year period.
Because I thought the 5 included both, the payment and then, because when we do loans, we pay both, and it's wrapped up in the cost per annual. So I thought that was his payment, but I can't verify
That's
that.
why it's 545, I would assume that's interest, but, what would the interest rate be, I don't know.
I have no idea. So we could ask John to do that, to figure it out, but I would think if we're paying back $500,000 a year, and we're paying just interest in 20 years, we still have the principal, then that wouldn't make any sense. So I would
No.
So
assume
the
they pay
500, the
both,
500 would be principal,
principal and I thought it
and
was
then
interest.
interest, I don't know, well,
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but yeah, you're
10
right.
million is 500, there's no other way to, the numbers are the numbers.
I don't know, I honestly can't say. But I'm thinking at 0% interest or 2% interest, it should be reasonable, and I know that's something we need to get John to get hard numbers on. So I sent this over to John and to Derek, and that's all John what we're trying to do. I didn't want any surprise. Last time we did this, everybody was surprised, and I want no surprises. And so I said, John, we're gonna borrow from the SRF funding, so he's well aware of the abatement trust, so he could definitely guide us.
What is the,
You'd be, well, you, if 2%, you'd be paying 180,000 a year on,
5180,
yeah,
or 6180, or 6080?
Whatever that is.
68.
So looking at 700 a year.
Yeah.
That sounds to me about, it sounds, yeah.
at 2%.
So, can you tell me what SRF stands for, if I'm
I
gonna
don't.
put
It's a revolving fund, state revolving fund.
state revolving?
State revolving fund. And so that money comes from the federal government. Each year, and this is what this is about, each year the state.
No, I just needed if I'm
Yes.
gonna put this into the warrant, I need to be able
Okay,
to say what is this.
that's State revolving fund.
Okay.
Either
That's,
0% or 2% interest.
anyway, it's someplace in that range.
And there's also,
Hopefully it won't
and I
be
can't tell what it is, debt
20-year loan.
forgiveness.
You're talking $15,000 a month. that you'd be
Yeah,
paying
okay,
on.
20-year loan, we're looking at 500K principal.
I'm not sure.
I'm just,
Okay, so I'm not sure we should put numbers that we don't know. We're guessing.
170K interest.
Okay, I mean, in the article, I-
500 we know. That's a basic thing. You got $10 million divided by 20 years, it's 500,000 a year, period.
Yeah,
So we're looking at
Sure.
I
700K.
don't know what,
I
That's
understand.
simple.
700K interest that would come out of our capital reserve fund?
it would come out of our annual capital budget. We have a budget each year in our budget that the capital for improvements throughout the plant and the infrastructure of $1 million a year, that's what we spend,
So we were virtually wiping that out in order to do this.
virtually.
Okay, this has to be submitted to the state Friday?
We're done, we submitted it yesterday.
I think the
Okay,
date
so
was-
She gave us permission to do that, we got it, we're already there.
August
And so-
23rd was the date.
As long as it was submitted.
We submitted it yesterday, so it's there.
Okay, so that's one item. We also had a grant application, stormwater.
No, that's a different grant, separate than this.
I
That grant's,
understand that, it's.
yes, so what we're looking to do.
Still playing with that one.
Yeah, we did the paperwork, and Mike Pierce is gonna, before we do it, they're gonna apply for a grant in our behalf from the state DEP to look at our stormwater system and how we can take sump pumps and tie it to it. So that's what they, so the goal is to tie sump pumps into the stormwater.
Okay, so at this point, there's no monetary
No,
number
there's
attached to
nothing.
this at all, it's
No.
just a.
No.
Okay.
And I believe the grant is going to be 100%, but I can't verify that. So as I get more information, we're in that process, I give it to the board, but the goal is to give an alternative to the sump pumps. But there is something that I got here, and I got to meet with Peter, and I don't know how this, so Peter emailed me just a little while ago, Peter Sanborn, and he's saying that there's, of course, there's no money in the fund for septic. So there's no money for people to go and do tie-ins. But he said he talked to the state, and for some reason, we've been applying for $200,000 a year, and that's not the limit, we can apply for a lot more. And so he's thinking we should write an article, and I'm gonna meet with him Monday at 9, and he thinks, and Bob Ethia, and we're gonna run numbers, but he thinks we should put an article forward to go for more money, because in 2017, the town puts an article to fund $200,000 for septic repair. And somebody said that was all the state would give us, and that's incorrect. We could get much more, so we wanna make sure we have enough money that can also, for people that wanna repair their septic systems, plus that wanna tie in, we don't wanna have one or the other to be short. So we're gonna talk
Okay,
about an
so
article.
this particular funding would cover either or,
That's right, that's right.
whether it was a tie-in or repair.
Or repair. And so the original was to do tie-ins, no, I'm sorry, was to do repairs and to do replacements of septic systems. That's what the fund is. And then when the town got involved in sewer and we have a letter that states that you must tie in, then they can apply for that money to tie in. The problem may become is that if we're doing both, there may not be enough funding, because we're out of funds, somebody they whipped it out. So Peter's saying that we should write an article for the town meeting to get more than 200,000. And so we're gonna sit down and talk about that number.
Can you back up a minute? I thought we had, thank you, I thought we had Serpent money available for sewer homeowners. And you're saying we don't?
No, that's just according to Peter Sandberg.
We always did.
We've expended it.
Oh, okay, so it had been available, but it's been used.
We've expended it, so.
Okay, then that's-
What Peter's saying is that if,
Well,
if
for
the
more.
article, we
What
only.
I'm saying is ask for
No,
more.
let's go more, because we always do
Who
20,000.
would do the article?
I believe Peter would, I'm gonna find out
So it
when
would
I
come
meet with him
from
Monday.
Sandberg, come from
I
CEDA?
believe so, I believe so, and I think what they want us to do is to run some numbers to make sure we have enough to cover what they use, plus what we need for the 80 residents.
What
And we have-
kind of a number can we go after?
He just said, he suggests we double it, but he said there's no
At
limit.
least a double.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what he said.
Can we tell what the
Because
two,
it-
sorry,
I'm sorry, when you finished. I would think we would at least double it, because if that comes through, then that gives us more leverage to go harder on
I agree,
hookups.
I agree, because I'm
We have the
thinking.
money available for those that would need it.
We've got, the average hookup is $2,000. 80 times 2 is 160, so we should get at least double. There'd be 2 for the town to use for septic,
Yep.
and 2 for us to use for this. I think we should at least double it. I agree with you.
I'd even go for triple, just on the off chance that
So
there's
I'll
others out there that we don't know about that haven't shown,
I'll meet with
Their
Peter,
face, yeah.
because that's what I'm gonna say.
unless
We
he
need the
says
money.
something else, yeah.
Okay.
so we've used the 200,000 so far in FY 20?
He said 19, I guess 20's not done, I'm not
Well,
so sure.
20 started in July 1st, so it had to be 19.
Yeah.
Can we get an idea of what that 200,000 had been spent on? If it was identified for sewer components,
So
or,
it's identified for septic.
okay,
Sewer becomes a
I
part of
can
it.
take that. 200,000 for septic support,
Yeah,
aid.
customer repair, yes.
Okay, can we find out how that 200,000, did it all go to brand-new Title V's for cesspools? Did it go for a
I
hookup?
can ask Peter, I have no idea.
It would be nice if we found out what it was used and what each component cost,
Okay,
which
he'll
gives,
find that out and get back to us with it.
okay.
I'll ask this question, because I have no idea.
Because it-
But I think the bottom line is, because we're running out of time, the bottom line is to decide what we need and add that money in and get the article done.
Exactly.
And then we can always, investigate where it went, but we need the money
Well,
until we at least get our
I guess
160.
what I'm looking at, from what you just said right now, if it's an average cost of $2,000 for a hookup, if that's what the average cost is,
That's right,
then we've got 88, so we need 176,000.
whatever it is, so I think that
You
number
think
is.
I paid 5,000 for mine.
The average is 2, I got people that pay 1,000, people that pay 15, so it's, yours is probably a long ways. It's all by distance and where you
Yeah.
get corners and yards and boulders and excavation, depth, there's a lot of variables.
Okay, if you use an average, say 2,500, that would cover hers, et cetera. We've got 88 people, I would go after at that much additional
Yes, I agree with
to
you.
whatever. Because the septic's rehab, that's a Bob Ethier situation. The hookup is our situation.
I agree.
And for our standpoint, we need that money available in the event of need.
I think you're right. I agree with you. I agree with you. And Bob and I are gonna be there with Peter, so we're both making a case. And we need a minimum of $200,000, minimum for us,
Yeah.
just us. And I think we should present that, plus whatever Bob thinks he needs.
So nothing was asked for FY 20.
Didn't say that, he just said there's no more money, so we gotta go with an article, so
So I don't remember it coming before
So the
spring
last-
town
I
meeting
think
for
last
FY
time he
20.
said it came was 2017, so I don't know if it's a long-term
Okay.
thing, I don't know, but he said last time
So
it
we're
came
looking for
up
how much?
was 2017. We're looking for 200,000, but
We are looking for 200. The fund itself would be looking for at least 4. If
Four
that's,
hundred thousand?
yeah, because they had two to start with, right? That's what their normal
Yes, it says
is.
the town, it's what he says, I talked to DEP, the town is under the impression they can only borrow up, they can only apply for up to $200,000. When I asked about this, they said it's not true, the town can request more. So we're gonna double it, minimum.
Go to 4,
Yes, so that's
minimum,
exactly
or
what it is.
5 even. You know,
And the other confusing thing was that Lakeville no longer does it, it's directly to Boston because staffing issues. So we gotta write to Boston, so they could have been, we could have sent it to Lakeville and got nowhere, I'm not so sure.
Okay.
So Peter will be submitting an article for 400,000?
He's asking to write an article, he's asking us to meet him, he needs numbers.
Okay,
He says, in light of the town's ability to pay more, to apply for more, I'm suggesting that we write 2 articles for the upcoming town meeting.
2 articles.
Because they're thinking of rescinding, so there must be an article, because he said to rescind the 2017 article that asked for 200,000. To rescind that article,
Yep.
and ask for another article, to put another article on to put it for more. So I think Peter's gonna do it, but he wants to make sure we have enough funds, so.
Okay.
And if he doesn't do it, then we'll put one in for us.
What is he
Then I'll ask.
asking from you?
He's asking for numbers.
Numbers.
So he's asking
Of
numbers.
what?
Of how much we need.
What's the
Okay.
cost for a
So we
hookup?
can say we have 86.
So we'll say $2,500 a hookup, we got 86 that have to be done.
And then we ask for that much money. So
We ask for that much money.
So we tell folks that there's money for this, we know there's gonna be at least enough to cover what Evie needs and what we need, so we're not going to misrepresent. Because people, if they go there now, there's no funds.
Okay, that's.
So meaning Monday,
Okay.
he asked what time Monday, I put 9 o'clock, so sometime Monday. Because if we don't do it Monday, he's on vacation for the next week and we won't get it done, so I wanna make sure you all.
Did he have vacation last year?
He did,
Why is he doing it this year too?
because they take it away if you don't use it.
Jesus Christ. Pushy.
Remind him that September 5th is the deadline for all articles?
So he wants to do it tomorrow.
Okay,
On
just,
Monday,
okay.
because he's saying,
Yeah.
I'm out of the office Tuesday through Labor Day. So it's imperative that we meet Monday, that's what he said.
So, should we make a motion that we support the article for additional 400,000 for septic repair?
I don't think it's needed, because if he
Okay,
gets the
so
article.
as long as it won't be coming from us
it
in
won't be
any way,
coming from
shape, or
us.
form,
It should
okay?
be, it would come from him to put the article, so I'll meet with him
It would
Monday.
have to come from him anyhow.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
yes.
We moved off of the $10 million. Did we complete that?
No, we didn't. Okay. Okay, we need a motion and a vote, a motion and a second and a vote to go forward with this article for $10 million for this SRF funding for the
We're going to give this,
lagoon filters and equalization lagoon.
we're just going to call it, we're going to put a name to it?
What do you call it?
Lagoon filter.
Improvements at the
Process
Wareham
improvements is
WPC.
what's at the top.
I would suggest that we put the word odor in there. In light of a recent letter and the town moving forward to, and we're gonna send a letter over to Patrick now, we're gonna send it to him, I just got all 3 copies. In light of that, I think we need to put in that article that we're gonna address wet weather / odors. I would suggest that word be in there to appease the DEP out of Boston, 'cause now it's gone to Boston, we kicked to Boston, and to let the ratepayers and the residents know that we're going to address it. So that's just my suggestion, what the board feels is what you should
Well, I
put.
mean, we have been addressing it anyway.
We have.
It's just, we would have to
I don't-
formalize their wordage.
So whatever, yeah.
Doesn't change anything, but
It
So
doesn't
the-
change what we're doing, because we are going to address it, but I don't know.
we have it right along.
Yes.
Okay,
You can
I'll
make
be-
it as wordy as you want, you can take it right off of there,
Yep.
Sandy.
Yeah.
Pretty good description of everything,
Yes.
so.
it
Depends how
definitely,
much you want.
this will definitely be a component because it will be the article, it'll be in the motion, and it will definitely be in the explanation.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we submit an article for the $1 million processing improvements made up of 3 components.
I would say 10
1
million.
million, it's 10 million.
10 million.
Did I say 1?
Yes,
I
you
meant
did.
10. $10 million. And of course, we'll explain in there that it will 1 million out of us and the 9 million will be a bond that will be paid over
20 years.
20 years, a bond or loan or whatever they call it. What would the difference between a bond and a loan? for the wording of this.
Yeah, no, it's a cement, I don't know, I can't ask, because bonds
Yes,
are,
John.
you buy bonds and then you
Is
do
it all the
loans, and I'm not
payments
so
guaranteed?
sure.
Yeah,
Bond guarantees
a bond
payment.
guarantees payment, you're
Yeah, so
absolutely right.
I don't know how you pay it, so the bond would come from the federal government or the state government, I'm not so sure.
So I will call it bond.
That's fine.
Yes, John.
And then-
Okay, now,
I got a motion on the floor.
and who's paying for this 10 million?
We are.
We are,
The ratepayers or the town?
the ratepayers, everything.
Just the ratepayers are paying this $10 million?
Absolutely. Everything to do with the sewer is the ratepayers. That's the way it is.
Yep.
I don't care how many people benefit, the ratepayer is responsible for anything we do in the sewer.
Identified as the annual capital fund.
This is not, this particular proposal does not indicate we're gonna do any increase in rates. This is not a rate increase proposal. I guess that's what I wanna say.
Okay, so we're gonna tell this is where I'm coming from. Are we gonna tell the people at town meeting that their rates are gonna go up?
No, I just
No.
said it's not
Okay,
tied to a rate
so
increase.
it's, we're gonna be able to afford this on what we
Yes.
have now.
Yes,
But hopefully, we're gonna look for a rate increase too.
Yes.
but that's separate and distinct. That's independent of what we're
Yes.
talking about.
No, I understand that. I just wanna be sure. So we're sure that we can cover this $10 million and not hit the ratepayers anymore for this $10 million.
Correct.
That's right, we can cover it.
Yeah.
Again, if we have other projects, so and we'll talk about rates another time, but I suggest we should have a standard increase, annual increase. It should be whether you base it upon indexes, whatever you feel.
I agree with you there.
There should be, there's no question. Because
That's,
this nonsense of not doing a rate increase for 10, 15 years,
We'll do this discussion at another one.
another, just what I'm saying,
No,
you're right,
but-
that's two
no,
separate.
Not for
it's-
yet, not for now.
No.
there's nobody here that disagrees with you, I don't think.
Right.
I know we
Because
do.
you're right, you're absolutely
The
right.
two of us
Okay,
do.
we have a motion, could I have a second?
I'll second
And all in favor?
that.
Aye.
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 I vote for aye as long as it's not gonna add an additional increase.
No, we're not the water department.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
It can be funded out of the annual capital fund, which goes for about $1 million.
Million.
But what it does,
And I don't have
Okay,
a
that's
problem with
done.
that.
okay,
Okay.
And if to get back to rate increases, we should review it every
We should be due for one now.
Every 6 months or so, take a look at where the.
Yeah, we should do
Where
it now, but
inflation's going.
not at this meeting.
Right,
yeah.
We'll do
and
this.
establish that
Was there anything else you wanted on this?
in the
Yeah,
future,
what was I,
you know?
I put that on the pistol.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to
Yes.
see that, I'd like to see that discussion on the next meeting,
Let me see what we got first.
rate increase.
Okay, that was that one. Pipelining. Is this what, are we going forward with pipelining? If so, where?
So we're not gonna, we're not in the article pipeline, but we are gonna move forward. We've got money in the capital budget talked about to do, there's like $300,000 to do from
Smith.
Smith's all the way down through the marsh, up and back into the portion of Swiss Beach.
That
That's
was already approved.
That's already approved.
Swiss Beach, okay.
Yes. That's done.
Okay, are there any capital items that need to go on here? Or an Article 4?
For articles for fall town meeting?
I don't believe so. I mean, capital items, repairs that we haven't discussed, capital. No, let me ask you, in our capital is, we're not gonna do it this year, but we still, to you folks that are in capital, we need to make sure that the force main is on it.
It is.
Okay, so that's not that. What else are we doing that we may want?
Well, I'll put it this way, it's on there in so much as we approved funds for the engineering. I don't think I've seen a value for total replacement.
You're gonna get a value, it's about 8 million, but what I'm saying is I just don't want it to come up at any town meeting and someone say it's not on the capital list. That's all I'm saying, we should put it on the capital list, replace it,
Then-
there's no monetary value, but I don't have to
I guess
give you.
that would be another meeting you have with capital planning to say these are what we need for future.
Yeah, we do, we definitely
I
think it should
don't
be.
remember the 8 million.
We had no number because we
Yeah,
were gonna
okay.
replace it about 4 million, 5 million.
Yep.
We played with numbers, we had nothing hard because we haven't quoted it out. But we knew that we had to replace the whole line. And the second part of that becomes, I'm thinking we should put Heinz Field because when we did the stop at Heinz Field, at the pump station, all the concrete inside that pipe was gone. Which means to me that down the line where you got more elevation, that we're gonna have some issues. So, and they're both built at the exact same time. I think that one is good and one is bad, especially when we saw some deterioration in the concrete. I think it's gonna be 2 force mains, and I don't know how to go about doing that, because that's gonna be double the money.
Now, we're gonna do where on your list of priorities does the onset pipelining fall in?
So I put it equal to Narrows. So I put it equal to Narrows, that's gonna be about 16 million. That's equal, because they're both identical. And they both, even though we didn't test, if we have 100,000, if you think we should test Heinz, we can do that. But because when we cut into the original part of it, we saw the concrete, it's this concrete lined, we saw it all gone. It was deteriorated out, so it's starting to get into the metal. So I'm assuming that the wear will be comparable to what we're seeing here, so they're both.
So we're gonna be looking at lining them all at the same time.
I'm looking at replacing, because lining, the problem with lining is I got a bypass. And I got a bypass from length of line job, which is about 8 weeks. To bypass for 8 weeks is between $2 and $3 million in itself, because I gotta keep sewer flowing. So that's a tremendous cost. Narrows we can't line, we talked about bypassing, we don't know how to get the bypass from Narrows over the water down Minot Ave. We thought about directional drilling under and sending it to Route 6, run the pipe over, because we've got a very, very dangerous intersection there. If I start putting pipes in that road to bypass, then I got an ambulance to worry about. It just doesn't make any sense, because the way I gotta go across it. Or we could probably put bridges over the pipes, we thought about that, put big bridges over the pipe. But the cost to do all that is pretty costly. And when you bypass the pipe, it needs to be manned for 24 hours. And the project itself is quite extensive, because to line the pipe, you've gotta cut it every 1,000 feet and put a manhole every 1,000 feet. So the cost was gonna be high, and then the bypass was gonna be out of sight, so it made more sense to leave that pipe doing its thing, and then parallel to it, we put a brand new EPD, heavy-duty pipe alongside of it, and when it's online, we switch over, and we have a redundant pipeline. And then
Put it alongside or above?
we probably put it alongside, or above, whatever the engineer feels. Originally they said alongside, because you'd have it, so, because the closer you are, you could switch back and forth if you had to. You know what I mean? You could dig up and just switch it, because even though we know it's compromised, it may be for an emergency. And then we can decide as a town, so you know what, let's do 1,000 feet every year or something of that pipe as we go, and we get funds available. Eventually we'll have 2 good pipelines, so that's our thought process. And they're putting that all in writing for you, and I'll get that soon, I'll present it to the board then. It'll all be in writing.
Okay, all right, so that'll, nothing to add on and warrant-wise as far as capital.
I can't think of anything, you know, I know we got, maybe in the spring time, we would be more prepared, but this time, I can't think of anything that we could add.
Can we get a copy of the draft odor control report from GHD?
GHD, draft odor control,
Yeah, aren't they submitting one?
GHD, I'm not
To
gonna aware of.
DEP? Aren't they submitting one to DEP? For funding?
Oh, that, yeah, I thought you got it,
You mean this one?
yeah, I thought you got it.
Lagoons,
No,
equalization?
this is the lagoons, is
I
this?
thought you got
Is
that.
this, we got the lagoons, is that the same thing?
Yes, absolutely,
Okay.
that's what they're submitting.
That was something else.
But they're gonna take that, Jim, and put it smaller, so they're only gonna put 2 pages in, so they can take all that information and shrink to 2 pages, because the DEP will look at all that.
Because this was, so they're submitting a draft to the state?
No, they're submitting that, but they're gonna make it smaller, so they're
Well,
gonna be,
Honestly, this runs down the last 4 pages. It's the
Doesn't
only
mean-
thing that is substantial in all this. Everything else are
Exactly.
numbers and
yeah, that's what I'm
lost
saying,
and
so,
numbers.
because the state wants substantiation, so when
But
we
the
move
state,
forward,
you're gonna give them a draft that we haven't approved.
I'm gonna give them a draft of that, I'm gonna give them a condensed of that.
Okay, as I said, a draft that we have not approved. I mean, we reviewed it, we talked about it, I asked for some changes, and the answer was it's a draft.
For what?
This lagoon,
Yes, what we just voted on and moved forward on tonight, the lagoon.
sorry. I thought we had to approve the document. Review.
No, that's just.
Okay, so we have no input to this document.
You, as far as, I don't know what your input would be. Yeah, you have input. Because so what we're doing right now is we have no guarantee of getting funding. But anyways, besides that, we present to you what we're gonna present to the state. The state's saying they don't want 100 pages, they only want 4 pages. We'll take them 100 pages and make 4 out of them and give it to the state to get on the list. Once that's done, there's a whole process. Once they approve it, then we're gonna do a full-blown plan to submit to the DEP for funding. That's next year if we get approved. At that time, we'll read this out. The reason we leave things in draft is because so you can have it. Once it becomes out of draft, it becomes public. It's still a working progress or very fluid, and we don't want to make it public technically. You can't request that by public request because it's a draft form. And so when we start doing these things, until we get what we really want to do, we leave them in draft form. You'll always get things in draft form until they become finalized. When we get final, that means we'll be done with the preliminary, getting through the SRF funding, get it on the list, getting approved, and then now it's time to get serious about making all this document real. At that time, it becomes ready to
Okay,
get submitted.
I think Sandy, what she's getting at, will we in fact see the final document?
You see final of everything?
Well, yeah.
Absolutely, you have to.
Okay, well, I'm just,
We'll probably see it after it's submitted to the state.
probably,
We probably will.
Okay.
We
I'm-
probably will.
she'd like to, I think she'd like to see it before it's submitted to the
And
state.
it's already submitted. So let me see if I can get a copy. It's submitted. I haven't even seen the submittal because it's based upon everything in there. There'll be nothing in that submittal that's out of that document.
And that is to support this?
You see that there? That's pretty much what it's going to be like because it's shrunk
Well,
down.
Okay, so what you have that's been submitted is a response to the odor issue? Or is it a response to this process improvements that's being recommended
For
to
the
address
SR
the odor issues?
That thing draws way too much. That's a
The
camera.
generation kicked on, probably power loss.
The camera did it. But
Come
actually,
on, generator. Power
Okay.
loss somewhere, you figure out. So let me,
Can I?
we're doing a specific thing at the plant to address multiple. If you read that, it's multiple address. Odor is just one of them.
Yes,
The odor issue that the neighbors, that has nothing to do with this, other than we're trying to correct it. So I think we're confusing two things.
I think what is a best business practice is that you would see the final version before it was approved. In other words, you're the director of the sewer plant, you haven't seen it yet either, but they're gonna do it. I don't feel comfortable with somebody else's work unless we just take a look at it.
I feel comfortable because it's all out of there. There's nothing added or taken away. All it says take
But
back.
how do you know that? How do you know that? You haven't seen it.
I don't.
Am I on the same page you are on?
yes.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, that's the only point she's making, and I think she's making a valid point, that we need to see things before. I mean, it makes sense to me. How about you, Malcolm? You weighing in on this?
It's done. Okay, so I'm going to go back, bottom line, I'm going to make a draft of a article and a motion and an explanation, and I'll pass it off to Guy and the sewer commissioners. Then I will submit it to the selectmen. I have to submit it to the selectmen on
Monday, Tuesday,
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Let me see if I can get Russ real quick. See if I get some voice.
Because I really don't want to wait until September 5th.
But I don't want to be uncomfortable either. I have a degree of working with them, a degree of trust, and I know that you don't have that because you have a good relationship, so I think you deserve it.
It's just policy, it's not a degree of trust, Guy, by any means.
We worked with this article for weeks, so I know where we're going with it, so I have no distrust. I know where we're going. You hadn't had that privilege, so I understand. I've been working with this project for
Okay.
weeks and weeks and weeks. We
Okay.
know where we're going, we know where we want to go, so I have a lot of confidence in where we're going and what they're doing. So that's,
I'm good
That's
with
the
this
difference.
description. Are you good with this?
Well, yeah, I'm good with the description,
It's
yes.
pretty defined.
Yeah.
it is, it
Yeah.
is. I don't think there's any
But
deception or anything that's going
I'm
to.
just
I'm not
trying-
confused as to what we're doing.
No, I'm not either. My only point is her point that we should see, before anything's submitted, we should see it. The final version, because you don't know, you know what? 4 eyes are better than 2 eyes or whatever, you know, you just wanna see
Well,
what you're actually actually submitted and
You can
double checking it.
You can circulate this via email.
Yes.
We just
Exactly.
can't all consort. We can each
Ex-
answer individually to Jim,
If so be it.
Exactly.
but
That's,
we cannot
it was
consort. So
only,
just send it to me.
They can send it to each of
Jimmy,
us,
you
but we
send
can,
it to each one of us individually
no, it
for
can go,
review,
it
right?
can go to all of us at the same time.
Same
We
time.
just- we just cannot respond,
That's right, we'll do a blast email.
And then,
because I just,
That's easy stuff.
I'm more comfortable if I know what other people have been receiving about what's happening here at the plant, that I have some knowledge about what is being said. I'm not saying we approve it, I'm just saying it would be nice if we saw what is being representative from the sewer department in the town of Wareham. That's it. Copy us on it.
yeah, that's it, that's all, that's the only.
We had a chance to review this back in June,
Yeah,
and we
and I-
did. Okay,
Okay.
Okay, you all have the final.
thank you.
Be in
Is it in my
emails.
folder?
In the emails.
Is it in my folder?
You can download it. You all have them.
Thank you.
No problem.
Not trying to be difficult.
I get it. It just, when you work with somebody, you just don't, you just move forward knowing where we're going, and it's, it's no problem.
I know where
Yeah,
you're
no
coming from,
problem
and
at
I understand where
No
you're coming
problem
from.
with it. None whatsoever. I mean that sincerely.
Guy, you got
Give me 1 second, Jim.
yeah, go ahead.
I wonder if it was a power loss here or elsewhere.
Okay, so, yeah, so the power, the generators are running, so I just gotta make sure that I acknowledge them, and then we'll shut them down. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead. Jim.
I signed a bill approval the other day, and it was on a Trojan control thing, and as I read the information surrounding it, it looks like we're missing some pieces for that.
We are not, we have everything here. What we're missing
Is it
was,
weights?
everything was in the corner, the weights and counterweights.
Yeah.
For some reason, we took them off. And so when the guy came, he says, you need these weights on, so he put on what he felt at the time that was good. So what's happened is that we violated bacteria because the flows are so hot, so quick into the plant, it raised the level in the UV, and they're not effective anymore, because they have to be at a specific level. So what we try to do is, the added weights, we have weight counterweight because we control the flow by, if you will, a flap. So when the flow gets higher, it's supposed to open up, more flow to drop, because you gotta maintain a certain elevation on the UV for them to be effective. So somebody years ago, they believe that insulation took those weights off so that it didn't have the ability to do the weight and counterweight and spring loading. So he says, okay, because we were violating. He came, because I called him to do an evaluation. He said, oh, here they are. Somebody stuck them in the corner, and he put them on, and now we should be fine. So there's no parts missing, but he only put on what he felt at the time that should
Well,
work.
the way the write-up was, it looked like we were missing stuff that we needed to have, and it wasn't
No.
there, and it was
So we
only.
missed it because we
it was
didn't put them on.
It was only a Band-Aid situation.
No, it wasn't bad, but, oh, God, no, thanks, Colin. I don't know who took them off, and I have no knowledge of that, so what
Probably
happened is,
Mac.
Okay.
we got it right now.
Anything else on your list?
That should do it, unless somebody else has something they want to throw into the fray.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank God you were here.
I know.